بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه أجمعين محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين حجته على الخلائق أجمعين الحجة ابن الحسن فداه أرواح العالمين. Some people falsely claim that we adhere to a religion that is not relevant anymore. We subscribe to a school of thought that has expired, that is not compatible with the needs of the society today. What these people fail to realize and fail to understand is that religion came to promote universal values that don't expire. And religion came to tackle everlasting challenges that are not bound by time or space. Geography is irrelevant. Time is irrelevant. They're universal. Challenges that we deal with on a daily basis. Humans throughout history and until eternity will have to deal with these challenges. Let me give you an example. The Quran, in numerous instances, talks about the importance of being kind to our parents. The Prophet ﷺ, in numerous traditions and narrations, he emphasizes upon the importance of being kind to your parents, treating them with kindness. Our Imams, they've talked extensively about this important issue. And they've told us stories, and they've even talked about certain verses that ostensibly don't talk about, being kind to our parents, but the Imams told us that the story of the cow, in the chapter of the cow, is based upon a young man who was kind to his father. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remunerated him. The whole story rotated around him. The whole story happened because of this gentleman's treatment of his father. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to make him rich, so he ordered the Israelites to purchase the cow from him, the cow with the special specifications. So he said that this cow is very expensive and I need a lot of money. I need you to fill the skin of that cow with golden coins so that I would sell it to you. So they came back to Moses and they said to him that this guy is selling his cow for something so expensive. That's not how much it's worth. So the Prophet asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said to him, revealed to the Prophet, that give him whatever he's asking for. It was because, it's a long story, inshallah, I'll leave it for another night. So this is a value that the Quran is promoting. Could someone say that this value is irrelevant today? To the contrary, this value is more relevant today than it was before. Because back in the old days, family ties were much stronger. The environment, the atmosphere, the tribal system that was in place, all encouraged people to be kind to their parents, as opposed to today. People are rewarded for running fast or for being able to carry heavy weight and stuff like that. But you don't see the government or any other agency, any other organization awarding someone for being kind to his parents. You don't see that because they don't really care about these things anymore. They don't appreciate these things. And darkness has prevailed. This is why we are in need of these values more than ever. You see students in school, they brag about being disrespectful to their parents. They don't refer to them by saying dad or mom when they are speaking to their friends. They say, my old man. Sometimes they even tell their parents not to drop them off when they take them to school where their friends are standing, because they feel ashamed of their friends even seeing them with their parents. They don't want their friends to realize that this guy is his father or this woman is his mother. They're ashamed of this. That's shameful. Look at how low we've gotten to. So these values are relevant. We need to talk about them. We need to discuss them. We need to introduce them to the society. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a solemn vow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined, according to this verse, أَن لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ. Don't worship other than Him. La ilaha illallah. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And immediately after talking about the oneness of God, which is the most important reality, the axis of this universe, He says that you should be kind to your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. It's one of the very rare, unconditional, obligatory acts that we need to perform. Whether your parents are Muslims or non-Muslims. He comes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says to him, Ya ibn Rasulillah, my mother is a Christian. How should I treat her? She doesn't believe in you, she doesn't believe in the Prophet, she doesn't believe in the Quran. He said, you should treat her as if she was a believer in the Quran, a believer in the Prophet, a believer in my imamah, as if she's a person that adheres to the school of thought. You shouldn't say that she's not a Muslim, that I treat her differently. When he went back to his mother, and his mother realized that he's treating her differently, he's taking care of her more than the way he used to take care of her before. She said to him, what's wrong with you? You've changed. He said, no, nothing. He didn't want to reveal to her that he converted to Islam. So she insisted, there's something about you that has changed. He said, look, I'm a Muslim now. I saw this guy, he was a Christian. I saw this guy, and he taught me to treat you this way. She said, this guy is either a prophet or a son of the Prophet. He was Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam. So this is an unconditional wajib. She's a Muslim or not a Muslim. Your father is a Muslim or non-Muslim. Your father treats you fairly or not. Even if he doesn't treat you fairly, even if he's mean with you, even if he's not kind with you, you should still be kind with him. They appreciate your kindness towards them or not. You should be kind to them, irrespective of how they treat you. Unconditional wajib, unconditional. And we will only understand how our parents view us and how much they take care of us when we become fathers. Then we will understand that every move, every step that they took was in our best interest. But this is something that we will not understand until we become mothers or we become fathers. Then we will start to appreciate even their interference in our lives. Sometimes we hate it. Don't befriend this guy. Don't go to this place. We don't understand why. But because of their concern for our well-being, for our health, for our religious well-being, they interfere in our lives. And one day you'll be treated the way you treated your parents. Bear in mind. So even sometimes when you know for a fact that they are wrong, don't befriend this guy because he's going to have bad influence on you. They don't understand. They don't realize that he's a good guy. He's not really having bad influence on you. But even at times like this, you should be kind to them. Listen to them, because one day you will want your children to treat you the same way. Even if you don't understand them, you just want them to listen to you. So Islam, our religion, promotes values like this that are relevant as ever. Or our religion, as I said, tackles challenges that we face on a daily basis that are eternal. challenges that each and every one of us, every human being has to deals with. For example, every human being has a set of desires. And this is something we share with every other human being, with every other human being that have ever walked this earth. According to scientific estimates, scientific reports, claim that the number of people that have ever walked this earth is a staggering 100 billion people. 100 billion people. So the people that have perished, that have come and perished in the past, outnumber us by 93 billion people. 93 billion. Now all of them had the same set of desires that you deal with today. Now, the desires that pertain to our flesh, to our physical body, there are certain guidelines that we need to follow, because we all understand, our brain tell us that these desires cannot be satisfied unconditionally. Cannot. Why? Because life would be paralyzed. Now imagine if the main character in Grand Theft Auto uses all the cheats to steal any car that he wishes, raids any house, any building that he likes, steals everything that he sees in front of him. Life would be paralyzed. It wouldn't be possible to live. And this is not just a game. In certain countries, the dictator of that country, like Iraq or like Libya, they had children like Uday, the son of Saddam. He was like that. He was like the main guy in Grand Theft Auto with all the cheats. He drives in the streets of Baghdad, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and if he sees a cool car, he confiscates the car. If he sees a beautiful lady, even walking with her father, with her husband, he abducts her. He sexually assaults her. This is what they used to do. But if all the people were to satisfy all their desires unconditionally, without any limits, life wouldn't be possible on this earth. Life would be paralyzed. Now, because this is a major issue, we have so many guidelines, so many restrictions. Of course, religion doesn't impose anything on us, but it guides us to the right path. It tells us what's wrong, what's right. 2 days ago, it was in the news, a report was issued about the number of female students being subjected to sexual assault in university. According to the report, more than 50% of all female students were subjected to sexual assault in a country that brags about protecting the rights of women. The law enforcement, they could, with a phone call, they could get the police there in minutes. And yet 50% of all females in the monumental location in a university where people receive proper education, they are subjected to sexual assault. And because this is such a strong urge in the human existence, they say that if you want teenagers to read a book, then put in the word sex inside that book. This will create interest for the teenagers to read that book. We have guidelines. There are certain restrictions that we need to abide by. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. The ultimate satisfaction of this desire comes through committing adultery. Committing adultery. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Now, the verse is very meticulous. The verse says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا. And don't come close to adultery. The verse doesn't say don't commit adultery. Don't come close to adultery. Lower your gaze. Lower your gaze. Why? Because when you lower your gaze, this desire is not aroused. There is a lid on this desire. But if you don't lower your gaze and you look The desire is aroused. This becomes like a flame, an uncontrollable flame. You can't control it. So you'll have to satisfy it. And the ultimate way of satisfying it is through committing adultery. فَإِنَّهُ, and if someone commits adultery, كَانَ فَاحِشَةً وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. This is a very bad act that you have performed, the person that commits it. وَسَاءَ سَبِيلًا. This will destroy your life and your hereafter. Both together. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this issue in numerous verses because it's so relevant today. And it will be relevant until the end of times. Because this is something that shapes people's lives. This desire shapes people's lives. Or when it comes to food, this again pertains to our physical existence. We become hungry. There are restrictions. There are certain foods that you're not allowed to eat. أحل لكم الطيبات. Everything that is good for you is halal for you. Anything that is detrimental to your health is haram. Haram. Now, some say, why aren't we allowed to eat fish that doesn't have any scales? Scientists today say that fish that doesn't have any scales are the vacuum cleaners of the ocean. They consume everything that is dirty in the sea, as opposed to fish that has scales. Now, sometimes we don't understand the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. But everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade, because there's something wrong about it, it's detrimental for you. Scientists today speak about pork. Pork. Why is it haram? It's so common, everyone eats it. Now they say, just look at it from a scientific point of view and you'll be convinced. For those people that aren't persuaded when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks and they just wait for a scientist to speak, then they become convinced. They say that a pig eats everything. Its own poop, its own children, every dirty thing is consumed by the pig. And it has a small stomach, small digestive system. It takes a pig 2 to 4 hours to digest the food, to get all the food inside the bloodstream. While a cow only eats grass. And it has 2 stomachs, 2 digestive systems. And it takes a cow 48 hours to digest the food that it eats. It takes all the nutritions, it takes all the vitamins. Then you eat beef because it's healthy for you as opposed to the pig. And that's not to mention the other side effects of eating non-halal food on your spirit, on your soul. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made certain things haram, has made certain things halal for your own good. That's why it will stay relevant until the end of times. Or for example, and I don't want to take your time, music. Music is by far one of the most important things about the Western culture. I remember when I used to go to school and people used to ask me, do you listen to music? I used to say no. That was mind-boggling for them. How can a 9-year-old boy, how can a 10-year-old boy not listen to music? Especially that music is everywhere. It's embedded in the fabric of the society. Now, my case was different. Because since childhood, since I was a kid, I was told, and it wasn't something imposed on me, I was told that music, listening to music, now there are certain exceptions, according to some fuqaha, listening to music is not halal. I remember when we used to watch a cartoon, and there was music in the cartoon. Back in the old days, we didn't have remote controls, so we had to lower the volume manually. We used to go and lower the volume. I never felt comfortable listening to music. I mean, when I go to a shopping center, there's music everywhere. Maybe I hear it, but I don't listen to it. There's a difference between the sama' and istima', as you know. So this was my upbringing. I never liked it. I was never interested in music, and I never listened to music. And that tells you a lot about the importance of upbringing. Upbringing is very important. Just like how some parents are so keen that their children don't eat unhealthy food. Don't eat chocolates because it's not good for your teeth. Don't eat this because it's not good for your health. And this is how they instill that in the minds of their children. This was the case with us with respect to these red lines that we have in religion. Now the Quran says, Inna sam'a. The Quran doesn't speak about music literally, but he refers to music in a broad sense. Inna sam'a. The first thing that he talks about, the first question that we will be asked on the Day of Judgment is about our ears. Inna sam'a. Then he says, wal basara, and your eyes, wal fu'ad, and your heart. Kullu ulaika kana anhu mas'ula. The ear has direct access to the mind. Now, I'm not talking about the impact of music. As Sheikh Muhammad was saying the other night, he says, you see people that listen to rap music, they don't seem to be able to wear their pants right. It's always hanging low. Or the people that listen to heavy metal, they have piercings where they can't have piercings. Or different musics have different impact on people's lives. But the thing is, why do people listen to music? They feel comfortable. It gives them comfort, right? And that is exactly why we're not allowed to listen to music. It drugs the mind, the brain. I heard someone who said it very descriptively. He said that I always have an earphone in my ears or a headphone and a music on because when my mind talks, it's toxic. I don't want to listen to my mind. And this is exactly why we should listen to music. Because music drugs your mind. Doesn't allow your mind to think thoroughly. You go into a different mood, a different mindset. This is why don't listen to music. Let your mind talk to you. Quran talks about it. He says, Allahu. He calls it lahu. Big distraction in life. Because it distracts you from the main aim and goal that was set by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us in life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the right path. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى اللهم على محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.